Good morning, guys. So, guys, this one is going to be absolutely terrifying. Who is in charge, and are we heading into dystopia? So, for those of you who know, I've been going down guys, just be aware this one's going to be a little bit wild. It's going to be a little bit out there, and at the end of it, I hope we've got a better understanding of media and how things can easily get manipulated. So I've been down a little bit of a rabbit hole at the moment with the why. What I found is, I've come across some really wild articles, and they've not got much media attention. Well, a lot of the stuff I'm going to tell you now, if I told you in a pub and I wasn't able to pull up the articles and share with you, like obviously I'm going to do in a minute, I do apologize for the smaller screen. You probably wouldn't believe me. Now, what I always say to my little girl when we're talking, I always like if I want to like weird her out or anything, I'll say, right. I say, listen, how in fields the farmers put up fake birds or owls or something? I'll say, do you think the other birds know that that's a fake owl? And she'll say, no, I think they think it's a real owl. And I say, okay, what if aliens put a fake human on Earth? Would we know it was a fake human? Guys, this video is not about aliens or anything, but it's just a thought, it's just, a thought exercise. So, there's a movie, I can't remember the name of it. It's with, it has Christian Bale in it. It's like one of his older movies. I think it's like in the 90s or early 90s. It's set in this dystopian world, and the leader of this world or whatever it is, he makes everyone have this drink or something to stop emotions, which stops people getting emotional about things, stops people fighting, and it brings peace. At the end of the movie, we find out that the leader has been dead for years, and it's just AI generated. It's just recordings or an AI generated images. So let's have that as the pretense for this. And let me share this screen. That one. Hang on. What am I doing? Oh, totally monged it here. Hang on. That one. So, right. So, this is a book that came out, I think, in March about the CIA and how they have these they're not new. They're like 30 or 40 years old technology. The CIA's former chief of disguise reveals spy secrets. People who blah blah blah. Where are we, guys? Yeah, so basically, this woman here, she released a book, and she was the chief of disguise in the CIA, and they had masks that were so realistic that so basically, she was asked by the president, so Daddy Bush, to show him these new masks and this new mask technology. So she went in, and this was the woman here. She was dressed as a Latina woman, and she wasn't a Latina woman at all. And the mask was so convincing, President Bush, he couldn't tell that it was a mask, and he looked all around her, and he had a good look, and he couldn't tell that this was a mask. So the mask was something no one else had, not even Hollywood could do, she said. That's just one memory from Mendez's 27-year tenure as master of disguise. This is my career, no one knows about it. And she goes on in the book, to talk about how her career developed. She was a wife of a CIA operative. That's in there. He doesn't really look like anyone of a Jason Bourne film. But anyway, I guess that's how they roll. But basically, they got married. She ended up being a photographer, then chief of disguise, and they developed these masks. And again, these masks from the book, and there's a video I'll share with you in a minute. They were indistinguishable. You couldn't distinguish between them, and these were used all over the world. And where is it? Here we are, guys. My whole career turned, Mendez says, who excelled in photography, and after soaking up her college expertise, masterminded critical disguise operations in the Cold War's most hostile locations, from Moscow to Havana to Beijing. We developed innovative disguises to instantly change appearances, created concealed cameras, and equipped CIA operatives and foreign assets, she says. We were able to monitor Russians and stay abreast of Russia's progress in the nuclear realm. Now, look at that bit here, guys. Okay, so they were operating in Moscow, Havana, and Beijing with these masks. So, you know, they must have worked, you know, otherwise they wouldn't have, you know, they wouldn't have used those masks. So you're not going to put your operators in, you know, you're not going to put your operators in harm's way. So my question on this, you know, I was absolutely shocked when I saw it, because we've all seen the Mission Impossible movies where people have got these masks and you think, oh, that's ridiculous. That'll never, that's not even a thing. Anyway, it turns out they are a thing. They're a real thing. And what my questions are is, why is this information being released now? Why is this information coming out now? What else is in their place now? What other mask technology do they have? Because you never stop developing technology. You don't say, right, okay, we've got a tank. Okay, right, we've got this tank, it's good, we're not going to develop it. No, you constantly develop, you constantly improve with new materials science comes out, and you can constantly develop these things. So, you know, what else do they have? Let me show you this as well quickly, guys. I'll put the links in the bio, not in the bio, in the description. Is it that one? Yeah. So, guys, please go and watch this this short video here. It's just under 4 minutes long, but that's basically the mask. Now, in this video, in the first few seconds, the lady actually says, what's it called? Pharmacy, yeah, it's the same lady, and she's talking, but she's doing like, she does like a 4-minute talk on those masks. She actually says that, you know, in that video, you can change your disguise in you can change your face in 5 seconds. So, you know, she goes into the operational requirements, which is, you know, she's talking technical. So what are the operational requirements? Well, you can't sit down. You won't have access to a mirror. You're going to have to put it on in 5 seconds, and it's got to be right. So whereas like in like a Hollywood movie or something, you would sit down potentially. I don't know. I've never been there. And somebody would put makeup on. They'd have time to do everything, you know. In these operational environments, you wouldn't have that. Luxury. You would literally be. You may be followed, and you may be followed into a building, and you may have to think, right, I've got into this, you know, building as a white woman. I need to come out as a black man to, you know, because people are not looking for a black man, they're looking for a white woman. So it needs to be done in 5 seconds. You need to be able to do it without a mirror, without tools, and it, you know, it's really fascinating. But one of the things she says is, you can not only change your appearance, but you can be someone else. Now, guys, I've done a few videos on AI and the progression of artificial intelligence, and it absolutely terrifies me. And I don't think a lot of people understand the depth of media manipulation that artificial intelligence can do. I'll share that in a minute. So, for example, in movies in the future, or not too distant future, or maybe even you could do it now, movies in the future won't be such that, you know, you have actors and plots and sub-actors. No, all that's gone. It's gone already. What you're going to have is, you're going to have me or you clicking onto your AI and saying, you know what, I want a movie with first-person view, so I want to put virtual reality goggles on, and I want to be the antagonist, okay? Or you may want to watch it on a screen, like, you know, and do it old school. So you'd say, okay, I want an 80s cop movie. I want to be the antagonist. I want Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger to be my co-stars. And I want, I don't know, Vin Diesel to be the baddie. And, you know, the AI will just generate you that movie. Well, you can already see this with when you use these things like ChatGPT, and it'll give you a little story, or it'll write you an essay. You know, so where does this, you know, where does this go to, guys? Because it's absolutely terrifying. Now, I'll give you the reason and the question why I'm going down this road. Right, so that one, so here we are, guys. So how do deepfake work? So using artificial intelligence, deepfakes can mimic a person's voice and facial features. The technology uses an audio recording of someone's voice to make it say things that the person might never have said. It can mimic someone's facial movements from videos of them, or even just a picture of their face. So you get a few pictures of someone, you get a recording of their voice, and that's it. Then you can clone them on the, you can use deepfakes to clone them. And of course, the governments and the military, they will have more sophisticated tools, tools available to them than what we've got here. So, hang on. No, that's... So that's the deepfakes, guys. Now, as we're moving forwards into the world of, everybody's looking for alternate media. Everybody's looking for looking at misinformation, fake news, what's real. Nobody knows anymore. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is, we've been, especially on our other channel, we've been accused of things like fake news and, misinformation. But the reality is, I never give misinformation out, guys. I give you my opinion. I've got a lot of experience. So some of the things I say, some of the things I know, the information I get, it's before the media. So before the media's had a chance to catch up, the mainstream media I'm talking about, I put this thing out and I've given you a few examples on our other platform. But people, by the time people catch up, the stuff you've said initially, it's classed as misinformation because nobody's caught up yet. So my question is, who decides what is fake news? Who decides what is misinformation? And are they being paid? Okay, you would assume that a person is at the other end of this, somewhere in that chain, you would assume that there's a person saying, right, X, Y, and Z is misinformation. X, Y, and Z are keywords. Let's look at this holistically. Now, if that person is drawing a salary, who's paying them? And who's dictating what is misinformation and what's not misinformation? Now, guys, so in this instance, how do we really know what is real? How do we know, how can we tell if it is Biden on stage, if it is Trump on stage? I used to think if I see it with my own eyes, it's real. But with the emergence of these masks, and I didn't know this, and this is technology that's 30 years old. But with the emergence of these masks that will probably be now available in the civilian market, what is real? Even if we see Donald Trump or Joe Biden in the street, how do we know it's really them? The reality is we don't know what is real anymore. And we could have a situation where we see something on the TV that looks real as anything. People think it's real, and then all sorts of stuff could happen. Remember the video I did yesterday? I'll link it into the end of this, guys, on subversion. Subversion now becomes ridiculously easy to do, and you don't even have to send your agents abroad because you can do subversion from with a decent computer, with a decent with a decent processing chip. So anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about today, guys. It was a little bit off topic, but I think we need to get it out there as we're looking at things and trying to piece together what's really happening in this world, because the stuff that's happening at the moment is absolutely insane. If you live in the UK at the moment, remember when I said we're going to see an increase in paid crime? Remember when I said we're going to see these these criminal gangs? Go look at my top 10 video. I said the first one is an increase in crime. It's easy to do. You can just say to criminals, right, go do crime. You don't even have to say that to criminals now. You can use misinformation. You can use artificial intelligence to send a narrative, to people that are susceptible to that. For example, if there's people, and I'm just speculating here, guys, if there's people in a certain country and they don't speak a language, they won't be able to watch the mainstream media on the TV. And again, that may be a good thing. So they'll be watching alternate news on their phones. They'll be watching, people's YouTube accounts, for example. Now, how do we know what's real on that YouTube account? How do we know that's a real person? How do you know I'm real? Guys, the rabbit hole is really, really deep, and I don't want to go too deep into this, guys. All I want to say to the end of this video is, guys, we need to be careful on what is real, because everything now seems like it could be fake. Guys, I'm going to mag to grid, and I will see you guys later.